Alright, it's my third video. Hopefully I'm getting the hang of it now. This one is on multiplying by a scalar. So you might remember that a scalar is a quantity with just magnitude. So for example, 30 meters is a scalar, while 30 meters left would be a vector. Sometimes we see scalars being multiplied with vectors. So for example, we get of 3 times vector v, or -1/2 times vector u. And a magnitude can do essentially two things to a vector. One of those is changing its length. So for example, if we have vector a here and we multiply it by a scalar of 2, then it will be double the length of the original vector. And this also applies for multiplying it by smaller numbers. So for example, vector a multiplied by 1/2 will be half the length of the original vector a. The second thing a scalar can do to a vector is change its direction, but only 180 degrees. I'll show you what I mean. So say I wanted to multiply vector b by a scalar multiple of -2. First of all, from this 2, I know that my vector is going to be double the length of original vector b, so I can draw that. And all this negative does is it flips the direction of the original vector 180 degrees. Because like I said in one of my previous videos, the negative version of any vector is just going to be equal in magnitude, but opposite in direction. And here we're just applying that to the scalar. So this will be -2b. So another point about scalars and vectors is that all scalar multiples of a specific vector will be collinear, meaning parallel, or they can exist on the same line. So as you can see here, this is all different scalar multiples being multiplied by a, and they still end up on this neat little line. If we wanted to, we could give this vector a an actual numerical value, so we could solve for our scalar multiples. For example, if we say that a is equal to 100 meters east, then we could just sub this in to something like 2a. 2a would simply be equal to 2 times 100 meters east. So that would be 200 meters still east. And if we're going to deal with negatives like I am over here, this negative is just going to apply to this east and flip it 180 degrees. So for this one, it's going to be about 66.7 meters and west, because that negative applied to the east and it flipped it. Another useful feature of multiplying by scalars is we can make unit vectors with them. So we can make a unit vector out of any vector really. So say I have vector a, which is equal to 3 meters northeast as displayed here. A unit vector is just any vector with a magnitude of 1. So we can easily make this example into a unit vector. So to make my unit vector, I'm going to multiply my original vector by a scalar, and that scalar is going to be 1 over the magnitude of my a vector. So I know my magnitude is going to be 3, and my vector a is going to be 3 meters northeast. And then these 3's cancel, so then I'm left with my unit vector of 1 meter in the same direction as a. So I imagine that was probably a shorter video, but I still have a lot more videos to do, so see you next time.